5, 4, 3, 2.
Tier 1 Performance.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the In and Out Talks podcast, powered by Tier 1 Performance. Your host here, Mitch Matulia. Today's special guest is a personal friend of mine, Dr. Ed Kieke, owner and founder of Koala Health and Wellness here in Houston, where he's practiced chiropractic care and physical therapy for over 35 years. Doc, it's an honor to have you on the show. Really appreciate you coming out, man.
Pleasure to be on the show today. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Good seeing you, buddy.
Absolutely. We got a lot of great stuff to get into. First and foremost, though, just for our fans and listeners out there, where'd you grow up and a little bit about your childhood and your upbringing?
Perfect. I'd love to tell you. I'm an unusual Houston native. Been here my whole life. I grew up in the east end of town. I grew up in a YMCA. Started at 5 years old till I was 60.
Yes.
Stayed in the Y for 55 years. Learned to play sports there, martial arts, shooting guns, archery, anything you can imagine. We learned at the YMCA, learned how to swim, played sports there. Learned a lot of skill sets to develop me as a young man and as an adult. And most importantly, I learned how to give back to the community, learned mentoring, a lot of things that the Y stood for. The two sports I took away from the Y was I picked up four-wall handball at the age of 8. Not many people have played that or are used to it, but it's in an old racquetball court. And I played basketball for my whole life. And handball, I took it to a new level when I grew up, got out of high school, started working. And eventually I played competitively and won 3 national titles, several state titles, regional titles. I was very blessed to be in the right place at the right time. Made use of my home still. Went from Melby High School to Texas Chiropractic College after a couple tours at San Jacinto College and University of Houston at Clear Lake. Ended up getting my degree as a doctor of chiropractic. I had the extreme blessing of meeting a man out there named Dr. John Nash that took me under his wing, and I developed my whole sports medicine career, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But I've had a great life, a blessed life. I've gotten to work with a lot of people, change a lot of lives, and I'm excited to be here today and share some of that journey with y'all.
Doc, I appreciate it. And it sounds like mentoring played a large part in your life throughout the YMCA, throughout Texas Chiropractic College. You specializing in handball and basketball from a young age. Walk us through, were you always, how was training for those things at that point in time?
It's interesting. We're talking about mentors, changing people's lives, young people's lives. Mm-hmm. When I was 8 years old, there was a guy, and I remember his name to this day, Tiger Jones, that was probably in his late 70s. Yeah. He ran 3 miles every day, swam a mile, worked out with weights, and played handball did all that 3 times a week, came to the Y every day. He took all the young people and invested time in us. Most of us don't invest enough time nowadays, so invest time in your kids. Took time to teach us how to play this sport. Mm-hmm. And it became fun because once you learn, you're not ambidextrous at 8 years old. Right. And most people aren't at 20. Yeah. But you learned how to play and be relevant. Training didn't come till later on where I learned how to play and train and do all those things. But just going out and having fun with it, developing your hand-eye coordination, but having another person invest time to teach me that sport. The basketball journey was interesting. I started with Coach Honey. Mm-hmm. Boys, if you're out there, thank you. At the YMCA at 5, 6, 7, mm-hmm. and ended up, he was my high school basketball coach at Melby when I graduated in 77. And so I had a full career in that. Wasn't good enough to go to college, almost, but not quite. And I played in the city leagues at the downtown YMCA for about 5 or 6 years until my time ran out. It was either handball, basketball. There wasn't time for both. So I started focusing more on handball. And so that's been a great journey.
That's awesome.
I retired a few years ago. I retired. That's why I'm looking good today.
You guys don't want that smoke.
No.
So what was like weight training like back then, 70s and 80s? Like, was it kind of frowned upon? Were guys encouraged to do that as far as like for those types of sports, or was it kind of taboo?
None of the above. They had these old classic weight rooms. You went down there, acted like you were doing something, looked in the mirror a few times and went home.
Yeah.
No strategies, no structure. The people that really had strategies or structure, they hired a personal trainer and they did that.
Yes.
But back when I grew up, there wasn't a lot of effort put in the weight room compared to what it is nowadays. Whether it was in junior high, high school, we just didn't do the weights that much. And we did, it was kind of half loaded. Y'all can edit that out. Half loaded to where you just went in there and played around, acted like you were doing something. Nowadays, it's full throttle. Everybody's invested in the weight training programs.
Understood. So it wasn't super structured back then by any means.
No.
Awesome. And after Milby High School, what was your next step after high school?
My father, bless his heart, he's looking down on me today. I'm sure he's proud somewhere.
Yes.
He wanted me to work during the day and go to night school. And that was hard, but it made me a man at a young age. So I went to San Jack and went to night school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then day school and Saturday. Worked at Tenneco downtown in the mail room. Yes, I had a job as a mail delivery person. I did that for 2 years while I went to night school, and it just wore me out.
Yep.
So I started working day jobs, did the night school, did day school, but I was allowed to train every day downtown. I was able to go to the Y. It was a couple blocks from Tenneco. I went to the Y, played either basketball, handball at lunch, and then on weekends I tried to get as much in as I could. But all I did was work, go to school, and have a few moments to train. And I did that for a couple years. And that set a foundation of maturity, allowed me to learn to be a man, get out of the bad habits that you have from high school. You know, you have to quit drinking, start eating right, doing all those things right.
Yes, sir.
And fortunately that happened to me. I quit all the bad things I was doing and got focused in life.
That's awesome. And while attending San Jack, did you know for certain that you wanted to become a chiropractor?
I did not. I'll tell you that journey later.
Yeah.
But at that time, I grew up wanting to be an F-14 fighter pilot in the Navy.
Yes.
And my dad was a fighter pilot in the Navy. I grew up wanting to be a fighter pilot in the Navy. And then I had some circumstances show up health-wise that wouldn't allow me to pass a Navy physical. So I was floundering for a couple of years, and then I accidentally came into chiropractic care.
Wow. And walk us through that. I mean, what was that like? Did you find another mentor throughout that journey? I know you got your start at San Jack with Coach Wayne Graham as well, so I definitely want to dive into that.
We'll touch on that. From the age of 20 to 22, I had changed and thought I was going to be an engineer maybe.
Okay.
Couldn't be a fighter pilot. That was DOA, not going to happen. And I had met some people at the downtown Y that had started being my friend. Wayne Graham, one of them, Judge Frank Price, and Ron Emberg are the three key individuals that changed my life at the Y.
Yes.
I was rough, not polished, and they spent a lot of time with me and started developing my handball game.
Okay.
I was a novice player, got up to a C player, a B player, eventually worked up to an open player. But they put a lot of time and effort trying to get me to mature, take training seriously, take games seriously, and also try to map out my life after school. And so that's where I accidentally found chiropractic care, because I'd had this ugly surgery, had part of my colon taken out when I was 20, and told I wasn't going to live. And then I did live. And then it's a little painful to talk about that. So if I look, it catches my attention every time I bring it up. By having a solid group of people around me, I wanted to live again, learn to live again, and got over the disease process.
Yes.
But what am I going to do for a living? And so I worked at Floor Engineering for a few years as a designer, trying to get into the engineering phase. And I went to the chiropractic college as a patient when I was 21. And they helped me with some back problems and some health issues that nobody else had helped me with. Wow. And I'm not going to say the gentleman's name, but the intern that took me under his wing there was so kind and generous and changed my whole life, health-wise, everything else. And I decided I want to do this, but I want to get in sports medicine, not in nutrition, not in orthopedics. I want to get in sports medicine. So that's how I was exposed to it, 1981. I'll never forget it.
That's incredible. So you dedicated your life to health and wellness due to your circumstances and your own experiences, it sounds like.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Making a difference in people's lives.
That's incredible. That's incredible. You've made a huge difference in my life and everyone around me, so I really appreciate you and everything that you've done for us. And so at Texas Chiropractic College, how many years was that process?
Texas Chiropractic College was 3.5 years.
3.5.
So I started there in 84, graduated in 87. I met Dr. John Nash out there, who was the best thing that ever happened to me as far as our profession goes.
Yes.
And I worked in his office in work study. That's how I was privileged to get involved. Through the process of that, my friend Wayne Graham became a coach at San Jacinto College at the North Campus.
Yes.
And he and I still played handball together. And we were talking one day, and I said, would you mind if we set up a training program for your athletes at San Jack? Welcomed us. They didn't have a trainer. They didn't have anything. Wow. The coaches taped everybody, gave them an aspirin, whatever they said, go on about your way.
Yes.
So Dr. Nash allowed me to secure some equipment from a company called Chattanooga. We went over and we set up a training room over at San Jack North. That allowed us to set one at San Jack Central. And next thing you know, we're treating all the scholarship athletes in 86, 87, after that, out there till about 93. And it was a wonderful journey. I learned so much and gained so much experience that I never would have gotten.
And that was your first taste of working with baseball athletes as well, I'm assuming?
Yes.
That's awesome.
All athletes.
And for all those kids out there listening, look up Wayne Graham if you don't know him. Iconic college baseball coach. And so your experience at San Jacinto and with Wayne Graham, what were some of the athletes that you had worked with that eventually made it onto the next level, like professional?
Probably can't say those, but some big names.
Understood.
If you dig up San Jack's history, you'll find out they had everybody from, I never worked with them, so I can say the names I didn't work with. Roger Clemens, Andy Pettit went to San Jack, and then they went on and had glorious, illustrious pro careers.
Yeah.
But all the people we worked with at San Jack, at that time, they were trying to get a major college scholarship or get into pro ball.
Right.
So you had a lot of people that was a stopping point in their life of, okay, am I going to go pro? Am I going to go into a 4-year school?
Correct.
Or am I going to move on with my life? Because some people went to a 2-year school and said, none of this is for me.
Once you get a taste of the grind and how it is being a student athlete, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
That's
probably
fair.
the injury out there that I'll never forget, I'll say the name, John Prather, who coached with Wayne over at Rice. He hit a ball and about 122 miles an hour went into this guy, Roger's ear, fractured his skull, and he almost died in the field. We're sitting out there the first time I ever gave emergency first aid. We saved his life. The ambulance got there, took him away. But when you're looking at sports medicine, musculoskeletal injuries, the last thing you expect to see is a skull fracture.
Correct.
And spinal fluid coming out of the nose and ear. And after seeing all that, I realized I was in the right place. That really secured up that I was in the right place.
That's awesome. You found your purpose in life.
That's it.
That's incredible. And so after that, is that when you opened up your own koala clinics, or did you work
there was more to that journey.
Yes, sir.
At San Jack, once I graduated from Texas Chiropractic College, I stayed there for a year after I graduated and ran the Department of Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation and oversaw the outreach programs at San Jack, the one at North Campus, Central Campus.
Okay.
There again, and even when I was graduating in 87, my first national title of traveling with the program was at San Jack Central, where we traveled with the women's volleyball team all the way to Florida for the national title. And we had a 6-person rotation, 6 women rotated through the whole match. And by us working on them before and after the matches that night, the next day, all that time, they stayed fresh and they won the national title that year, and they never won one. So it was a first for San Jack, and for this elite group of young ladies, it gives me chills talking about it right now.
And just being able to play a role in it and being a part of that.
Yes. The baseball, track, all the other teams, I never traveled with them. We just worked on the athletes on site.
Right.
But we actually got to travel before I graduated. It's okay now. Before I graduated.
Yeah.
And kind of not legal, but it was fun. And we took care of them, had a great trip, and we won. That's the most important thing, and they got to be their best.
That's special, being a part of that journey. Because I know, like, you know, the training staffs for Jordan and I in college, they were very, very close with us because they really only specialized in baseball. So them getting to travel with us, they were a part of the team, you know, and in every way, shape, and form. So that was really cool to hear.
Makes a huge difference. You become part of the family.
Yes, sir. And so after San Jacinto, what was the next step for yourself?
1989, I opened up a private practice in Clear Lake. I still kept my hands involved with San Jac.
Okay.
In fact, I traveled with their volleyball team in '93. Hate to say this, but they lost in the finals after being up 2-0 and lost 3-2.
That's tough.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
I think everybody learned something that day. We were counting our eggs too early.
Right.
Everybody was getting measured up for a ring on the bench, and come to find out there wasn't a ring.
Right.
And so that was the last time I traveled with San Jac or even worked with San Jac because my private practice became too busy.
That's incredible. And that's when Koala started, correct?
Back then, my personal name was on it. I had a business partner at the time, so
Yes.
we merged two clinics and started Koala Chiropractic. Then we later added Koala Health and Wellness and then Koala Sports Medicine. And we had 5 clinics at one time, and now we're back down to 1 clinic. So we've gone the full circle of growing, staffing down, and then coming back to earth, especially after 2020.
That's incredible. And I mean, what I like about your clinic, though, is that you have such a wide range of clients. You have children to elderly, athletes to hobbyists to people who haven't exercised in a long time. And so you have a wide range, which I don't think a lot of guys in that industry do have that. So, I mean, in your experience, you've dealt with everything. What's your advice for people who haven't exercised in a long, long time and how they need to get up off the couch, so to speak, and ease their way back into training with avoiding bad injuries?
I'm going to tell you, that's been a sore spot with me for years because everybody tries to get you involved with whatever class, event, participation, marathon, anything.
Yes.
Or even a dad going out and playing catch with his son in the backyard and hadn't done anything in 10, 15 years, or even 5 or 6 years. You have to go to the gym with a structured reason to be there and exercise properly in the gym, preferably with a trainer. Okay? Then you have to go work on your cardio. And along the way, while you're doing those two things, you have to work nutritionally. Our society today, and I'm not putting this in for RFK,
Yes.
if he wouldn't have come in and talked about all the issues that are affecting everyone's health today, from kids on up to aging seniors, everybody deserves a chance. And how they get that is starting from day one. And for all you parents out there that are listening, birthdays doesn't mean too much cake, too much sugar, a treat. Your son, daughter makes straight A's in school. Don't reward them with McDonald's. Nothing against McDonald's, y'all can edit that out. But at the end of the day, if your kid does something good, reward them with something healthy. And just eliminate, make it a habit, eliminate sugar. It makes a huge difference. Just sugar alone makes a huge difference. I'm going to go back.
Yes.
When my mom dropped me off the Y from 5 till I was probably 15, I had a quart of Kool-Aid with about a pound of sugar in it every day, a bologna sandwich, Mom, and nothing of health,
Right.
but I still made it. And the exercise and the lifestyle and everything is what helped me get through those times. But nowadays, you can't participate in sports if your diet's that bad.
Correct.
You just can't. You don't have the recovery, you don't have the performance, you don't feel good. And that's why we get so many illnesses in our society and nobody can put a finger on it. Why this person get this? Why this person get that? Eating habits.
100%. And the way I always like to break it down to clients is splitting up into pillars. And you just basically broke every single one of those down with nutrition, sleep, hydration, weight training, resistance training. And while on the topic of resistance training, how early is too early and when's a great time for children to start resistance training, in your opinion?
So we have a PhD in our staff, Dr. Bloom, which you've met. You're probably looking for kids just doing some resistance band or body weight exercises. 6 to 11,
Yes.
5. I started doing push-ups, pull-ups, all those things, 4, 5, 6 years old. Everybody worries about growth plates, and it is something to pay attention to. But using natural body weight, natural exercises, we've been doing that since day one. We've been doing it since day one. So teaching kids push-ups, pull-ups, nowadays not sit-ups, but things that are appropriate for the core, I think is a great thing. Then as they start getting 10, 11, 12 years old, depending on the maturity of the child, maybe you hire a trainer that knows how to train someone that's young appropriately, because you don't want to overstress the growth plates.
I want to emphasize on that, is going to an expert who knows exactly what they're doing, who can oversee their form, teach them about nutrition, know the amount of sets and reps that they should be training at that age. But, parents look at me like I'm goofy when I tell them, hey, by age 11, 12, your kids should be lifting. I mean, they should have already mastered body weight training and band work and medicine balls up into age 10, 11, right?
Right.
And because that's how you get ahead, but more importantly, that's how you establish great habits early in life before it's too late, right? Not that it's ever too late, but you want to establish those habits before your teenage, college, early adulthood years.
We all know this. That's the formative time of a child's brain, their habits, everything. And if you don't establish it then, and you let them get into bad habits, you spend 10, 15 years chasing bad habits. Sometimes chasing bad habits means chasing them into jail, chasing them into the doctor's office all the time, chasing after them from every mistake they made, because how many kids have you been around that are sugarholics and their behavior is off the charts? Their grades, everything in school is off the charts. That's why parents establish the great habits now, not the good habits, the great habits now from the time they're born. And by the time they're 10, 11, 12, all you're doing is you're steering the wheel versus having to change the wheels every week, tune up the car, do everything else. Listen to that advice. It makes a huge difference.
And I think more importantly too, it's just parents need to practice what they preach as well, right? I mean, what are kids? I mean, kids are going to observe through watching what their parents do. And if their parents aren't practicing good habits, what makes you think that your children are going to practice good habits, right? So parents out there, I challenge you as well to eat right, take care of your bodies, avoid excess alcohol, avoid these things that are going to tear your marriage or your family apart. That is a direct impact on your children,
If you don't mind if I add on that, I use the word all the time in the clinic and for the audience that's here today. Environmental genetics, I think, is so critically important. And over the past week, I had the best example of it in my clinic. I treated the parent and the husband and wife I've known them for 25, 30 years. Treated their daughter when she was in her teens playing soccer and running track, saw her off to college, went to Trinity University, came back, went to law school, and now she's a parent, and she's a stay-at-home parent. Her child was in my office the other day, not a peep. The child walked around, played the whole time, smiled, was loving, no sugar tantrums, I need my juice,
right?
Everything. So parents, environmental genetics, whatever you've learned and you're teaching your kids, make sure it's the right thing. Make sure it's good habits. If you're sitting in the kitchen smoking or having a drink or coming home after you've been drinking, your kids see that. And I know this isn't a PSA announcement for good behaviors, but we're talking today about injury prevention, how to be a good lifestyle guide, and that's where it starts, is at home and with the parents.
I could agree more. And, how important, obviously mentors have played such a big role in your life. How important is young athletes to find mentors to help guide them, to help teach them the right ways and direction? That's something Jordan and I try to take a lot of pride in Tier 1 Performance, is mentoring young athletes on how to act on and off the field. How important is it that somebody finds somebody other than mom and dad to kind of take under their wing?
I've worked with a lot of athletes through the years. Some of them become pro athletes, college athletes, whatever. The ones that seemed to succeed the most and the longest had outside mentors. Wasn't just their parents, whether they had great parents or parents that were challenged because of time constraints or whatever. But meeting somebody in the community, if they're playing baseball, somebody that's older, and teaches them the way to be a professional, to be a college player, to be a high school player, how to conduct yourself on the field, off the field, how to behave, how to train. Good habits. You mentioned something earlier that's real important to me is not enough athletes get rest.
Correct.
Okay, it's critically important. But when you have somebody that's been there and teaches you that, that's why you see a lot of mentors in pro sports that have retired. When people get drafted, they hook them up with a mentor because they want them to learn how to be a pro off the field, not just on the field.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think in the Yankees' best years, when Derek Jeter used to take young guys under his wing, because he was the captain, right? I mean, he was a professional on and off the field.
Right.
And I think the way that the Yankees kind of conducted themselves in the 90s and early 2000s kind of spoke for itself with all the rings that they won, right?
And look where Derek is today, okay? Part owner or a majority owner, I'm not sure which one, of the Marlins. Is that still correct?
He actually left them recently.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't coincide with what he is.
That's all right.
He wants to win. The Marlins, I don't know how much they want to win.
Look where he's evolved in his life.
Yes.
And changing lives. But he was a consummate professional in the field.
100%.
And we have a young quarterback in our clinic right now, and he just came back from the Manning football camp. And he was talking about Peyton and Eli took them under their wings up there, and we're teaching them how to practice during the week on the field, how to watch film off the field, how to schedule their week off, but also how to incorporate their diet, everything we're talking about here now.
Yes.
But how do you act like a professional to get that big contract, to get the results on the field? Everything ties in together. And so mentoring on a positive way, you can't get enough of. The key point is stay away from bad influences. Correct. Sometimes people think mentors, they turn out to be a bad influence and they've already taken you down a path you don't want to go down. So make sure if you're screening your mentors or if you're screening them for your children growing up, make sure they're good people and they have good lifestyles and good habits.
I couldn't agree more. I always tell kids, try to emulate someone or find a mentor that is in a position where you want to be in, right? They conduct themselves in the right manner. They have a good home life. They take care of their bodies. They're good individuals, right? And maybe played at a high level that they want to play at one day. I think that those would be an ideal mentor for a young athlete.
Well, look at yourself. You never played pro ball, but you treat these kids as if they're going to go into pro ball.
Correct.
You teach them everything. And that's what I like, not just about you, but about how you and Jordan work with these young athletes.
Yes.
Teach them how to be a pro, whether you were a pro or not, how to be a pro. We've worked with probably 120, 130 interns from the chiropractic college in 40 years. And 81 of them went to chiropractic college, interns from the University of Houston that we convinced they were good enough to be chiropractors.
That's
we had
awesome.
81 do that. So there's many people out there that are hungry for interning, motivating. This may be a person that normally couldn't go to college, but they spend some time with you, young man that we both know.
Correct.
I don't want to say his name.
Yep.
But you took him, and he is marginal, and now pretty good. Pretty good.
Confidence goes a long way. And I think when you're surrounded by somebody who is giving off positive energy and positive feedback, instead of just tearing you down all the time, it's times have changed as well, right? Like you can't just, it's not the 80s. You can't just bark at people all the time and cuss at them and whatnot. I know it was a different time back then. I think you got to have a good balance of, hey, you need to talk to them like they're a professional, like they're an adult, because that's how you expect them to act, right? And obviously positively reinforcing them when they do well, like let them know, like, hey, that was incredible. Like keep up the great work. Like I see your body changing. I see your performance on the field changing. Keep it up. You're going to be successful no matter where you go in life.
It works. And you know what? You brought up a very good point there. Not everybody is meant to be a pro in the sport they choose.
Correct.
Okay? But if you get the life skills down and you get the hard work ethic and you do it and you pay the price. My nephew tried, I put him in football camps, he did everything. It just wasn't his cup of tea. Right. And when he talked to me about it, I'm like, you're not quitting. No. You're going to a different journey. Now you fast forward almost 20 years, he's an exceptional professional for a large company and probably is going to retire at 45 or 50 because he took those good work habits and honed him into a craft of where he's very successful in the business world.
I couldn't agree more, and that's why we love sports so much, right? Is that it gives you work ethic, it gives you drive, it gives you discipline, it gives you so many things that you can use later on in life. And not to mention it keeps you out of trouble, all those good things as well. So, and Doc, in your opinion, what's the best way athletes can avoid injuries? I know not all injuries are avoidable, correct? What can they do in their control to avoid injuries?
We talked about it earlier. The weight room is critical.
Yes.
Proper training is critical. Sometimes these athletes go and train on their own and they think more is better. More is not always better.
No days off. That's their mindset. Yeah.
You have to have your nutrition in line. It's painful for me. We still travel with U of H track and field. When you see DoorDash, you see the food that some of these elite athletes eat, and no matter how much you talk to them, sometimes it's just not affordable. So you have to teach them how they can eat effectively,
correct,
but afford it. Hydration is a big thing. Kids have heat strokes, heat cramps. They go out there and they play 3 or 4 softball or baseball games on a Saturday at a tournament. The parents will run them over to McDonald's or Subway between games. Nothing of value there. And these kids, it's whoever makes it to the finish line, you're lucky.
Correct.
So when you get into my field, I'm not going to tell parents to go out there and invest in a massage every week for their kid, but I'm going to tell them it's a great prevention, no matter how young you are, to keep the muscles flowing. When you get older, it really works and you really notice it. A kid may not notice it as much.
Yes.
And if you have a chiropractor that's a sports guy, start them early getting adjusted. It really does work to prevent injuries as well as performance enhancement. You see there's way too many people now that go to chiropractors, they go to sports medicine chiropractors as their first choice. And you've met some of them in my clinic.
Yes.
They go there as the first choice and then they'll go somewhere else. Or in my line of work, it's easy for me. If they don't fit in my scope, I have a great group of referrals that I send them to, whether it's from nutrition or orthopedics or neurology. Even sometimes you'll get a young athlete in that seems to have some heart issues.
Yes.
You want to send them to a sports cardiologist versus someone else. Sometimes they get lost in, well, you need to quit sports. No. You want to exhaust all opinions on that till you know you got to do it.
I love that. And your connections are never ending, and I know that you always lead people to the right places.
I work hard at that.
Yes, sir.
I don't know everything, but I know everybody.
I like that. And so, we talk about injury prevention, things of that nature. Let's say a family does have the financial means. How early and how often should their children be getting chiropractic care, preventative measure care, in your opinion?
I'm going to use a family that I treated for years. They came in, they got their whole family a massage once a month from the times the kids were probably about 10, 11, 12. But It was modified. It wasn't a full body massage, just areas. If they were out running a lot, they worked their legs. If they were throwing a lot, they worked their arm. The parents both got full body massages. But they weren't camped out in my clinic for injuries.
Correct.
I'm not saying it completely prevents injuries, but it helps reduce them.
Yes.
Getting adjusted helps reduce injuries, helps modify your performance. It's all about relieving nerve interference in your body. And whatever your belief system is, it's put off the hat of judging and look at it and say, okay, all these people go, maybe I can go. Maybe this can help. The Houston Astros, I think it was the Washington Nationals that beat them in the World Series. Was it 3, 4, 5 years ago?
2019, I believe.
Yeah. Whoever won the game, I think it was Scherzer. I may not be saying his name right. He flew his chiropractor in because he couldn't pitch in the final game, and the guy worked on him the night before and the morning of. He came out and pitched and beat us. You don't hear about that.
No, and I know how particular guys are. Once you find somebody that you trust to work on you, that's the guy you want fine to come work on you before your start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the people in my clinic that come in. That doesn't mean they don't see other people if they're on the road and we can't work on them. But they come in, they trust me, they trust my staff. We do a great job with them. But the main thing is they know how to communicate. Hey, could you work a little more on my foot? This is not right. What do you think? There's a lot of things you can do to get a person right. Or we do a lot of nutrition. there's a gentleman, he doesn't mind if I say his name, Dr. Grabowski,
Yes.
that is heavy in sports nutrition, and he does it scientifically and objectively. So all of a sudden, you may find out that you've been deficient in B12, and that's why you keep getting stress fractures in your leg. Once you get the B12 straightened up, you don't have stress fractures anymore. So we can rehab all day, we can do therapy all day, we can adjust them, and they're not getting well. They keep having this reoccurring injury.
Yes.
And everybody says, put calcium, magnesium for it. We go do these objective tests and find out they don't need calcium, magnesium. They need B12. So that's why it's critical to have a team that works with you.
Getting your blood work done is every bit as important.
I'm going to give you I think you've been in my office recently when the young lady that's in the wheelchair is coming in.
Yes.
She did a complete workup with Dr. Grabowski the other day. Mm-hmm. And every vitamin nutritional deficiency she had ties into neurological compromise.
Wow.
Every one of them. She came in and told me that. I called him just to verify it. Yes. So if they would have started that regimen sooner, she would recover sooner. Now, she's going to have a full recovery. She's going to do some stem cell in a couple of weeks and other alternative things. But one of the things her family's done is put a nice group of doctors around her. I'm not going to fix her, but I'm helping her upper body rehab and her strength. And we do leg movements, and we have one of our therapists doing massage work in their back. She had back surgery. She had fallen and broke her back. And she's temporary in a wheelchair, but I know she's going to get out. But that's an example of having a good team of people around you to get you from either the couch to running a marathon, get you from 9, 10, 11 years old to playing college or pro baseball.
Correct.
But also if you have a tragic accident, getting you to live normally again.
Sounds like you need to constantly set goals for yourself and surround yourself with people to help align those goals. Mm-hmm. And I know that you have a great team around you over at Koala as well. I know everyone's such a joy to see whenever I visit your clinic. So walk us through that. I mean, like, how are you helping the younger generation through internships, through mentorships on what they want to do next in life as far as health and wellness goes? I'm
going to give you a simple answer, then I'm going to tell you. I try to lead from the front. Mm-hmm. One of the things that Dr. Nash did for me, he went down, showed me how it was done, mm-hmm. and then let me get my hands involved. And I'll ask an intern, what do you think about this person? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? But before I do that, I let them observe, because it's not always the hand treatment or the massage or the adjustment or the rehab or the weights. It's how you motivate them. And I think the hardest thing to do is motivate people with the same technique all the time. You have to adapt to their personality, what their needs are, those type of things. And then when you connect with them, it's just like when you're coaching and teaching.
Correct.
Some young people, this is the way to go, and they need a little bit more firmness. This one needs a little bit more praise. This one needs a bigger contract. I'm winking at you on that one. But it's finding out. And that's one of the hardest things it is for young people today. When they get in their career, they think that everybody's just going to, okay, you're Dr. Jones, whatever you say. You have to find out how to connect with people. And that's one of the blessings I've had because of Dr. Nash. I feel like I relate to most people. Not everybody, but most people pretty well, whether it's a executive in a company, a pro athlete, a young kid that's 5 or 6 coming in that's scared. I think you've been in when that young girl that's 9 years old that got wrapped up into a grocery basket. I'm not doing anything crazy in her, just simple things, but mostly keeping her excited, motivated about life. And then we work on her and she started to straighten out. So it's a great journey. So it's just not always about sports, but what I do is I apply sports principles to everybody. I feel like their life is just as important to theirs as Derek Jeter's was on the field when he played.
That's awesome. That's moving. And in your opinion, I mean, as far as baseball goes, I know there's a lot of imbalances. I know pitchers tend to have shoulder issues, elbow issues. How do you address those imbalances as a chiropractor and through physical therapy care? Can you look at somebody and based on their posture kind of tell where they are imbalanced at?
A little bit. We used to have this wonderful equipment. I hope we're fixing to get it again. We had a complete Biodex testing lab that allowed us to isokinetically test all movements in the shoulder, elbow, wrist, hips, knees, ankles, feet. We had a separate machine from a company called BTE that allowed us to test necks, and then with the Biodex, we could also test backs. So what we looked for specifically in pitchers, and we did this a lot with Rice when Wayne was over there, before the season, we tested all their shoulders for imbalances. And we'd find out that this guy who's been struggling with shoulder problems for 2 or 3 years had a improper ratio from his posterior compartment to his anterior compartment, his rotator cuff muscles. And we set up the rehab program to fix the weakened muscles. But remember, no symptoms, no symptomatology, just not performing up to his level. And then once we started doing that, just not on baseball players, but on track athletes, you started proactively eliminating a lot of the problems. A lot of the track athletes that you've seen in my clinic,
yes,
they have a improper ratio from their quad to hamstring, pulling their hamstring all the time. So people tend to go and they work in the hamstring all the time, rehab the hamstring, but the problem is their quadricep is weak. So that's what makes having a piece of Biodex equipment. Now, after been doing this for almost 40 years, I can look, talk to people, do a 1-rep max, do something like that, and get kind of a generic feeling. But having that Biodex is like, it's platinum. It's not gold, it's platinum.
That's awesome, because I've seen you work with countless athletes and teach them, like, hey, look, the root of the injury is not where it's actually hurting, but it's due to some other imbalance in the body. And like you said, like whenever guys are having hamstring issues, maybe is it usually that they're quad weak, or are they like hamstring weak as far as that goes?
It can be both.
It can be both.
The same thing in a pitcher. But the testing, what it does, it tells you. So sometimes a guy really did pull his hamstring organically, had nothing to do with a ratio imbalance. He just didn't warm up properly. You have to ask more questions. Did you warm up right? Did you sleep right? Did you do too many events today? Sometimes they sign up and they go out and they run everything. Did you do too many events? So that's what the testing equipment allows you to get more specific. Other than that, I can look at them now, look at their gait, look at their history of injuries, and pretty much come up that, hey, your hamstring keeps getting irritated because you have a weakened quad. Last but not least, you could have a neurological problem coming out of your back along your sciatic nerve. And so that, I experienced that myself personally and ended up having back surgery with no back pain because my hamstring kept shutting off and I kept pulling it. So the solution was surgery, but I had to experience enough. So using conservative methods, if you're not in a critical situation, you don't want to jump right into surgery or medications unless you have to.
Understood.
But you want to go out and you want to try getting the symptom worked out, getting the scar tissue worked out, strengthening it, and, rehabbing it, then strengthening it appropriately for what they do. So we're not going to take a discus thrower in track and field and do the same strengthening programs that we are a sprinter. Okay, you have to get it broken down. Same thing in baseball. Your pitchers are going to do a different rehab program on their shoulders than an infielder, than an outfielder. Same thing for hitters. The guy that's a power hitter is going to do the weight room and training differently than a guy that's a base hit guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Pete Rose was a big man.
Right.
Okay, but what was he known for? Base hits.
Yes.
Base hits. And there's a different rehab nowadays. Everything's more scientifically based, organically based as far as getting down and saying, okay, you're a pitcher, this is what your routine is. You're a football quarterback, you're going to have a different routine than the running back, than the lineman, everything else. And if you have somebody that's generically putting you in the gym and you're in high school baseball and they put you in there with the football team and they say, y'all are going to work out together, give them your number, tell them to call you, Jordan, and y'all meet up with them and teach them how to do it right.
Correct. No, we always preach that to kids. I mean, you know, you're in a room full of 60 athletes who have little to no experience in the weight room, and it's like you're going to throw one coach in there to oversee everything, and that's how injuries happen, right? And guys maybe not treating it as seriously as they should, maybe not warming up properly. There's a lot of factors that come into play. Now, I mean, in your opinion, like whenever athletes are coming back from an injury, when is the perfect time? Like when should they know that, hey, I'm ready to go, I'm 100%? Because I see a lot of guys rushing into that. I guess mentally, like when do you know that you're ready to compete again at 100%?
So I'm going to use the silver medalist from the Olympics last year that you know in my clinic.
Yes.
He came back from the Olympics, top of his game, killed it in the fall. Spring was killing it. Had a bad moment where he grade 2 tear of his hamstring before he ran his final races at University of Houston. So we sat down, we did an MRI, first of all, versus just doing we assumed.
Right.
That way we had a perfect diagnosis for where it was, treated him every day for 4 weeks, got him well enough where I could talk to his coach, have him do rehab runs with him, that's important. You have to have somebody that knows what they're doing, integrating you back into that sport.
100%.
So you know how to rehab. So the person we worked with, you did rehab work with him after we strengthened up his hamstring.
Yes.
To get him back out. He just didn't go back out and start playing, throwing, or whatever.
Right.
That's the biggest mistake people make is I got to get back out there, speed dial. And the individual I'm talking to you about, the Olympian, he was very patient. He's like, I'm not going to run before I'm well because I don't want to go through the re-injury cycle.
That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
And that's when bigger injuries can happen, right? It can go from a grade 2 to maybe a grade 3 or however
You can have
it
a
works.
rupture.
Yeah.
And then you're having surgery. And I'm telling you, people that really have major hamstring surgeries, I've never seen a whole lot of them overcome it. Some do, but they're not going to go back out and play pro sports or run at 10.0, 100 meters. It's hard to do.
Especially a track athlete. I mean, a baseball guy, it's a different story. You can stick him at first base or DH, whatever, but it's like a track athlete, that's your moneymaker, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And it's so important. It's so important.
Yes. And at its core, just because I'm curious about this, for chiropractic care, like what is it exactly that you're doing? Are you manipulating for the nervous system? I mean, I'm oblivious when it comes to it. If you could explain to our audience what exactly you're doing as a chiropractor that helps the performance enhance. I'm going to make it generically where everybody can understand. Cool. We take a fixated segment. So a lot of times we've heard this myth that if you pop your joints, you're going to have these big knuckles when you grow up. Right. Well, if you look at my knuckles, after playing handball all these years, doing chiropractic care for 40 plus years, they don't look bad. I've adjusted them my whole life. Your spine, if it's appropriate, adjusting it, what you take is a fixated joint, nothing more, nothing less, and add normal motion to it. That's all you're doing. The nerve impingement, if it's malpositioned just enough, the inflammation in there, it all irritates that nerve just enough to where it's not firing off as well. So when you go and adjust a person, like, oh my God, you got that spot, now I can throw the ball. Right. But they had just one little vertebra, just one little pinch, just enough to where they couldn't throw the ball. So everybody's looking for everything under the sun as far as imbalanced muscles, weak muscles, spasm, whatever else you could have going on. And then you do a simple adjustment, it goes away, and they go back out and they perform. So essentially, it's taking a fixated or a segment that's not moving properly and adding normal movement to it. And it doesn't have to be just the spine. Right. It can be an ankle, as you know. Correct. It could be your knees, your hips, shoulders, elbows. I worked with Ring. You know that in 2003, they won the World Series championship. Brought the ring today. Show you guys. Show the camera.
2003 World Series championship. We worked on his pitchers. Yes. Up until, they almost went out in the mound, and sometimes adjusting them right before they went in the mound. And I take a lot of pride in saying that we had a role in their 2003 championship. Wow. Because awesome. We had a group travel up to Omaha with them and work on them. And the key pitcher that was significant for them to win up there, we worked on him every day to get him through the super regionals, and then worked on him up in Omaha, And he went out there and beat the University of Texas, which that was who Rice needed to get by. Yes. And then that allowed them to win the national title against Stanford. So big highlight in my life. Got the ring. I brought it today. I'm proud of it. Proud of those memories. So I think I regressed a little bit off of that, but it's understanding. You have to have a person that really understands you and what you're doing for your performance, whether you're in gymnastics, whether you're treating a sprinter. I've treated swimming and diving. I've treated swimmers. I've treated platform divers. We treated an Olympian in platform diving.
Yes.
These people come over to you after every dive and say, my neck's out at C5, C6. Now, they're the only athletes I've ever worked with that could do that.
They're in tune with their body that much.
They know everything.
Yeah.
They know everything. On that twist, my lumbar spine went out just a little bit. So they're real in tune, but so is a baseball pitcher, baseball player. They're like, man, my slider today's not working. I'm not spinning the ball. My forefinger's not working. What's wrong? You look at their grip. You find out they have an issue up in here. They have an entrapment in their elbow. You adjust their elbow, working this. All of a sudden, they can grab the ball and start throwing it like they want to. It's just little simple things. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, adjust their whole spine, do all that. Sometimes it's just their elbow and their forearm, and they start throwing just fine.
So it increases mobility and range of motion overall.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. And so for athletes, would you suggest or recommend once a week chiropractic care?
Could be. If it's just purely maintenance care, it's not going to hurt. The young people that I've been involved with, they start seeing the value of it without an injury, and they want to get adjusted before their events especially.
Yes.
But during the week, they'll say, hey, I'm not hurting, but can I come by? Sure, you can come by. I can't tell you any instances I've ever turned somebody away. But they come by, they get the treatment, but they're also aware of if they have an injury, to talk to me about it immediately. Right. Tell their trainer, tell their coach, tell me about it. Maybe I can help them. Maybe they need to go to a more aggressive type form of treatment. Obviously, if a young man comes to me and says he broke his ankle, I'm going to send him immediately to one of the orthopedics I work with. First, getting the image. Now, if he doesn't know he broke his ankle, I'm going to do the imaging and make sure that it's in my scope. And if it's not, make sure I get the appropriate doctor involved. Because we have had that where people have come in and they've had ruptured rotator cuffs, ACL tears, fractured ankles. And they're like, someone told me it's not so bad. We do the imaging and it is bad. So I want to make sure they get to the orthopedic before somebody starts trying to put them into rehab prematurely and they have a torn rotator cuff that's ruptured.
Well, and that's what I commend you so much for, is that you're not there just to take people's money. You're there to lead them in the right direction immediately, to find the root of the cause. Because it's like, I know there are probably some chiropractors out there that will just continue seeing people rather than referring them to get an MRI, to get an x-ray. And it's like, dude, like this whole time, all your adjustments aren't doing anything because it's not helping the root of the issue.
Yeah.
Right?
I love all my friends out there that are chiropractors, but sometimes just because you say you're a sports medicine doctor doesn't mean you have the experience to be recognized that way.
Correct.
And if I'm big at sending people out for imaging and referrals, maybe sooner than a lot of my peers, but I always find those problems, and I get the challenging problems. I get the person that has 2 ruptured rotator cuffs. I get the person that has a torn ACL, PCL, and meniscus tear. We had a defensive back from Florida State years ago that had a torn ACL. He added a torn patellar tendon to that. That's not in my scope of practice, but I took him to a gentleman that treated the Astros for years. We got him the right care. It took him 2 years to rehab, and he ended up fulfilling his dream in pro ball in Canada, not the NFL. But he was originally misdiagnosed for the ACL rupture by the school he was going to. I'm not going to say the school's name.
Got you.
And then he went out and was playing ball again and tore his patellar tendon. I saw him over there. So. Sorry about that, Jordan.
Jordan's always distracting. That's awesome. And Doc, it's been a real honor. It's been a pleasure talking with you today, and I know we're going to bring you on again, and we're going to have more stories to tell. And I can't wait till we do get that. But Doc, I really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and sharing your stories with us here today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I hope this enlightens your audience.
Thank you, Doc.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
4, 3, 2,